Hello everyone, introduce myself. My name is Nyama from English Study Program. In this video, I will present about my analysis novel with title Remember by Barbara Taylor Bradford with 400 page, published with Bulletin Books on September 1991. This novel tells about a woman named Nicole Wells, or commonly called Nikki Wells. She is a war correspondent who worked at an American television network based in New York. Nikki has a crew of Jimmy Trainers, Luke Michaels, and Arts Leverson. Nikki talked about war that will happen in the T995 of Chinese. He told his crew that it was very difficult of cover the war because the Chinese government had turned off satellites and banned all television stations from covering the Tiananmen Square. And on a comfortable night, Nikki walked on Chang'an Avenue and met Clay Donovan. He said that very night the Chinese always walked to the Tiananmen Square. From that meeting, Nikki and Clay communicated more and more, and they feel more comfortable because they have the some principle, namely heroes, photojournalists like Clay and war correspondent like Nikki often risk their lives to bring the truth to the public. Knowingly, they have a feeling of expressing arts order, but Klee is still imagining the pain and discomfortment in the past. Then they were had started. Nikki, Clay, and Jimmy entered the wardrobe until finally their bodies were buried, and at the moment they meet Yo-Yo and Mai. Because things were getting dangerous, Nikki and Clay suggest Yo-Yo and Mai to go to Hong Kong because their safety was threatened, but they refused and chose to stay there until the war was over. After the war was over, Clay advised Nikki to go to his farm in France. While calming his mind from the disaster that occurred on Tiananmen Square. However, Nikki was hesitant to go because Nikki always remembered his part when when he heard the word Paris. He always remembered how his future husband left him, Charles Devereux, left him for no apparent reason. But after thinking for a long time, Nikki finally called Clee that he agreed to go to Clee's farm. And when he arrived at Clee farm and when Nikki got there, Nikki met Amelia. And sure enough, Nikki felt more calm there and his sleep was sounder than before. Previously, but this night, Nikki had a bad dream about Clee, Yo-Yo, and Charles. Nikki dreamed they were in the desert, thirsty and looking for water. When Clifford found water and when started to the water, suddenly Cliff was covered in mud and blood. Instantly, Nicky woke up from his dream and he immediately threw why Charles in this dream. Nicky immediately go up from his sleep and Nicky read the newspaper. On his desk, accidentally, Nicky read that Charles the Frog had committed suicide 2 weeks before their wedding. Nicky could not believe what he was reading when after Nicky read the newspaper. He looked the schedule book that had been made the night before. But after a few days, Nicky saw Charles on television and there Nicky felt confusion. Today, Nicky met with Anna Devereaux. That Nicky saw Charles on television and thought Charles forgot his death. But Anna replied that my son called be Malakal. But Phillips immediately interrupted their conversation and said that everyone has a twin who is everywhere. And maybe he just looked alike with Charles. After lunch with Anna and Phillips, Nikki went to the garden behind the house. Nikki felt calm with the smell and the beautiful rose. Nikki dissolved in the calm and he remembered all his memories with Charles Devereaux. Nikki unconsciously shed tears because he didn't want to be too dissolved in sadness. Sadness Nikki went straight to the room, but Nikki was still thinking about Charles and why he forgot his death. There's Nikki thought about Charles. Nikki realized that there was a special clique for him in these few months, and Nikki began to realize that Nikki started to love Klee. In the afternoon, Nikki went to lunch with Arch. On that occasion, Nikki told the Charles Nikki was going to look for Charles to Greasy. When Nikki arrived to Greasy, Nikki immediately looking for Charles to a hotel in Greenwich, but these salts were to no a file. Nikki looked to Madrid after a long time looking in Madrid. Finally, Charles found him because Charles knew Nikki was looking for him, and that time, Nikki felt very angry with Charles. Charles said Charles would give no the reason he deserted as long as Nikki didn't tell Yon and Charles was still alive. Nikki agreed and Charles said why he forgot his dad because he was an English intelligence from Secret Intelligence Service. Nikki just left Charles. After Nikki found out everything, Nikki went to back to France. After a few days arrived in France, Nikki went to a picnic with Clee. There they were honest with their feeling, and Nikki also admitted that he wanted to Grace to tell for Charles. After a few months, Charles was reported to have died, and Nikki told Anna and Phillips. After that, Clay covers conversion his feeling to Nikki. Clay promised to be a good husband and wanted to marry Nikki soon. After that, Nikki left Anna's house and Philip. Anna had considered Nikki as his daughter. Nikki had abandoned his feeling about the house but not with Anna Devereux and will always remember it forever. Character in this novel is Nikki Wells, Jimmy Trainer, Luke Michaels, Arch Leverson, Yo-Yo, Mai, Glenn Donovan, Amelia, Charles Devereux, Phillips, and Anne Devereux. The conflict in this novel is Nikki remember all her parts about Charles and Stephen Arch going to look for Charles to agree and Arch told what Clee would do if Clee knew Nikki looking for Charles to agree. And the most interesting part is when Nikki remember her part about Charles and to find Charles to greet after a long time, Nikki asked why Charles left her for no apparent reason. And the moral value of the novel you can get is the every relationship must be based on honesty, otherwise one of them will feel disappointed, and also we cannot judge someone just be listening to our own heart without asking her person concerned, like Nikki who was willing to look for Charles to greet Madrid for sake of a reason and tried clarity from Charles. And I think and things you don't like in this novel is the story of novel is long. I feel bored reading it. And this novel is not suitable for the great teenagers. And that's about this novel.